Hello and welcome to this live session on studying and teaching methods at the University of Oulu. I'm your host Safa Arif, and I have with me two wonderful panelists who are students at the university and will be joining me into sharing their experience about the different study and teaching methods at the University of Oulu. Before we proceed forward, I would like to remind you that we do have a live chat option, so if you have any questions, please direct them there, and we will take them up at the end of the session. So, hello. I have with me Marianne and Stanley. Would you please start with your introduction?
Sure. I'm Marianne. I am from Chile. I'm a primary school teacher, and I am participating in the master's program from Education and Globalization, and now I am completing my second year.
Okay, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story with us. Can you also give a small introduction, Stanley?
My name is Stanley Amaechi. I'm a project cost control consultant from Nigeria. I'm in my finals in a bachelor's for DICE program, specifically Information Processing Science, which is a 5 years program, 3 years BSc and 2 years MSc.
Okay, so thank you both for joining me today. So Stanley, you have been here for like 2 years now?
Yep.
Yeah, so what are like the major differences that you've seen in the studying and teaching methods here at the University of Oulu as compared to back home in Nigeria?
Okay, back home in Nigeria, I would say the average Nigerian is very quite knowledge hungry and quite theoretical, and we have some good appetite for knowledge. But back here in Finland, what we hear in Finland is, I call it, it's a hands-on experience. And I personally term it a passive-active approach to learning. And you do not just get to learn theoretically, you get to also experience that theory in practice. And the difference in the teaching, it's more of passive-active in the sense of you learn without knowing you're learning because it's split into small chunks of hours and kind of gets you quite independent, and the resources from the library to the Fab Lab and everything, what you see in theory, you can actually apply it in terms of getting your hands dirty. So that's actually most of the difference. And just to touch upon it, it's not exam motivated, but knowledge driven.
Yeah. That's good that it's not just about like giving the exam and knowing how to pass the exam and then moving forward. You're actually learning throughout the semester rather than just like in the last week or last month, like a lot of us often are used to. What about you, Marianne? You said you're from Chile, so are there any differences between here and there?
Yes, I completely agree with what Stanley was saying. My experience in Chile, so I completed my bachelor's there. I was in a teacher training program at the university there for 5 years. And mostly my university experience there with the teaching methods and all, you basically learn for an exam what we were saying. So you have to take a lot of notes during class and then prepare summaries and try to learn all the content by heart, because then you're going to have a test at the end of the semester and your grade and everything depends on that. So it's not very like knowledge driven. It's more just pass the test, and that's your main worry or concern. But here it's very different. At least in my program, we don't have any exams. We don't have any tests. We basically, what we do more is just you attend the lectures, you do a lot of reading, but there's a lot of discussions, which are really nice because my program is a very international one. So we have people from different parts of the world, and we discuss different topics. And then those discussions, you have to bring them into your essays or into learning journals that you have to write. So you are connecting the whole time and relating to your own experience.
Yeah, I think sometimes I feel like it's a little bizarre that if somebody back home when we were studying in our own countries would have told us that we have an entire master's program, but we don't have any exams to evaluate it. That would be like a bizarre thing for us. But now here we're so like used to it. Oh yeah, this is how it works. This is, you know, this is the way it goes. Like, so yeah, it's good how like even our perspectives have changed so much after coming here.
Definitely.
So do you think that because like it's such a huge difference and people who haven't studied in this sort of environment would like to know that, has this improved your studying or learning in any sense, or is it better?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I was always a very good student. I always studied a lot and I did good in my exams. But in that study method and teaching method, I would forget everything after the exam. So you just learn it by heart and then you just forget it because it's not very impactful. Instead here, because you have to discuss about the topics and relate it to your own experience, you deep dive into the content. And I think that has improved a lot my learning. And I feel like the program here changes a little bit like your identity. Like now I consider myself like an EdGlow, and all the core things that are in the program, like you feel them very deeply in yourself. So you're constantly thinking about the content with your everyday life things that happen and the people that you talk to, for example.
So do you think that you mentioned that you have like a lot of people from different countries? Do you think hearing their perspectives also helped you develop this?
Yes, absolutely. I really like my program, and having people from different parts of the world, we talk a lot about education and different education systems. So that is very interesting to compare, and having people from the global south and global north is also very good for decolonizing and sharing the knowledge. So I think that's very important.
That is so nice to hear. Thank you. What about you, Stanley? You also mentioned that you actually like really get into the work and like you can go to the Fab Lab and actually start working on projects. So how has that impacted your learning?
Okay, in terms of the impacting of the learning, I've experienced some kind of paradigm shift in terms of learning, and especially with the strategies that are being employed here. It's more like it's not just about learning; it's more about reorienting your life and the learning patterns and strategies really reshapes your life and your approach to basically life, not just your studies, because. Example, you have like 160 hours for like a course, and it's split. I'll give an example for like some of the software modeling courses and the mathematics courses that we have. They're split into stacks, quizzes, and some online exams, and they have like very realistic deadlines for you to do, which are all listed on Moodle. And somehow you have to spend about 15 minutes each day to do some of those little tasks, and it builds up every single day. So somehow you become quite independent while you're doing this stuff, and you get to hone your craft. Also, like the last question you asked me about the difference about this and in relation to my country, I was opportune to also go to Berlin for an exchange program also. And it was really quite nice also because I saw the difference, not just between my country and also with other universities, also back in Berlin. And because of these, I've been here in Finland for close to about 2 years. And because of these passive active, that's actually my term, passive active kind of strategy in terms of teaching, between the past 2 years since I came to Finland and now, I consider myself to be an intermediate Java user. And without even knowing, last summer I built a card game, and so which works quite very well. And if you had asked me 2 years ago, like, are your Java skills going to be this good? I would say no. How did it work? It works by giving you little chunks of things to do passively, and you gradually grow into it. And then at the end of the day, you become quite good, like Marianne said, in what you do.
So you mentioned that you've been to Berlin for an exchange semester. Did you find any difference between the teaching methods in Berlin as compared to like Finland? Because they both do come in Europe. But was there something different about like University of Oulu or about the Finland teaching methods, or was it quite similar?
Okay, there's a bigger, for me specifically with where I went to in Berlin and compared to University of Oulu. I would say it's a bit more relaxed here. It's a bit more relaxed, and the programs are kind of hybrid, because we have traditional face-to-face lecturing and we have recorded Zoom lectures. And apart from that, also I've encountered in some courses like data modeling, I had a kind of oral assessment, which was some form of assessment instead of the traditional essays that you get to do, where you are given. And that is one of the differences which I saw.
Okay.
And if you notice down here, they say averagely for international students, you have to do about like 60 ECTS, and 60 ECTS divided across 2 semesters, that's about 30 and 30. So you have not too much to do, but at the same time, it's engaging at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of the exchange I did in Berlin, it was a bit intensive. So you have to do quite a lot. And you get to lose out a bit in terms of your social life. But in here, it's more about the work-life balance.
Definitely.
And personally, this is my personal opinion, the organization of the program, especially for the DICE program, which I am in, it tends to give you a realistic approach and prepare you for the outside world to have a good work-life balance. So you're not just study. You also have there's the Unimove, you can join the student guild, there are other things you can get to do. So you have a really balanced life.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think you have so much time here to take up on hobbies even while you're studying that it's good. It's not just like you're waiting for the vacation to come and then I will like do something in my free time. You do have free time. Even
I can even shock you with something. I was in university here for about 6 months and I never knew they had a music room. And sometimes I leave lectures. When I'm done with one lecture, sometimes I'm like, okay, I feel like I want to go play the guitar. And I just walk in, I play the guitar. And of course, it feels relaxing.
Yeah, I agree. And even like the nature around is so nice that you can just like walk to one of the lakes near to the university and sit and like watch the ducks move around in the summer. And it
or
feels
the botanical
so good.
gardens too.
Yes, true, definitely. So I wanted to like know that from course to course, is it like one size fits all, like all of the courses are assessed in the same manner, or is every course like a little different in terms of assessment or in terms of, I don't know, being progressed at the university?
Well, in my case, it depends on the course. One thing that shocked me, and I've noticed that also shocks many of the students, exchange students, is that not all courses are graded. So that is like a very big culture shock because you're so used to the grade and having to worry about that when you get there and they say, yeah, this course isn't graded, it's either you pass or fail. They're like, what? Then how? Like, what do I do? How do I pass the course? What do I have to do? Like, how do I know that I'm doing well enough? And that has been something very different. And that the courses are also graded differently from 1 to 5. And in Chile, we grade from 1 to 7. But yeah, usually the courses that we have in the master's program are more, we have some presentations or group work, for example, that we have to do during the class. And then at the end, you present the ideas that were discussed. Sometimes you have an article that is assessed, how much you understood and have to relate it to a topic, for example. And then we have other types of assessment that are more related to like essays or the learning diaries that I was talking about earlier. And in that sense, that is a product that you have to write at the end of the semester.
Okay.
But then you work on it during the semester. It's not like all the work comes at the end. No, you start reading some articles. You have to relate it to the course content, to the lectures that you're having. So you work on it during the semester and then you just present it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Stanley? Are all of your courses graded differently? How are they treated?
Yeah, the courses are graded kind of differently. And I would say the courses are kind of put in a way to reflect the reality. I give an example. We have like, I'm currently taking data structures and I'm taking a course in software quality and testing. And in the real world, if you have to do some coding in a teamwork, it has to be within the agile process and everything. So definitely you have to work within a Git environment. And so even though we're in class and you can submit stuff to the lecturer, you still have to have a Git account and you still have to do most of the stuff in the Git account. So it's assessed within that environment. And then I just rounded up a course in human-centered design, and you're supposed to work in a group, and at the end of the day you get to present a seminar based on a project, which is quite different.
Yeah.
Then I did another course in information security, so you have to work in a group and also be able to give your individual assessment of the system.
Okay.
So you see, sometimes you're graded in terms of seminar and project. Then for the mathematics course, you're graded in terms of stacks, quizzes, and then a final exam. But just like Marianne said, the whole essence is to get your mind off exams.
Yeah.
And because if your mind is just fixed on, at the end of the day, I have to write an exam, it really doesn't benefit you that well. Because example, for the oral assessment that I had to do, and they just gave me a topic and said, okay, you go read on it and come talk about it. Now it's in the head. I can't forget about it because I'm interested in it. Because it's not like the university leaves you out there in the code. They give you a very good environment and platform, and they support you with from the library, from the teachers, from the group work, from everything. But it teaches you to be independent on your own, still within a supporting system.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with both of you. Even I feel like it's so good over here that the professors themselves are given like the capacity to model their program however they want to and to assess it however they want to. It's not just like we have exams in the end or like we have essays in the end. No, it's according to what the program requires rather than what is like required by your degree.
Yeah.
It depends from course to course. So that definitely is quite good.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure, of course.
I think that also something very important here is the course feedback. At least in my experience, this university and the program, the teachers that I've had, they actually take into account the course feedback, and what you write as a student is valued and is considered, and they actually do make changes for the next semesters. I know from talking to my student tutor here, a teacher tutor here, she's told us that please, like, they do a lot of emphasis on writing the course feedback because they actually do try to improve constantly and try to match the students' interest, but also like what is the degree, what is the program looking for?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I remember giving like some good amount of feedback to a couple of courses last year, and then I was a student tutor this year, so I was talking to my tutees and they were like, oh yeah, they've changed like this thing. I was like, oh yeah, I think a lot of us put that into recommendations.
Exactly.
So you see that being applied, like, because normally oftentimes like students feel that why would they even like consider what we have because they're the professionals here. But that's definitely not the case. I definitely agree. So you mentioned about like you have group work, but do you also have like individual assignment to help you like focus on your own development?
Yes, absolutely. During the first year, there were a few tasks that we had to do, writing our own learning journals and diaries, and trying to reflect upon our own experiences and how they're related to education, to teaching, to our language. And then also a lot of presentations. So there was one course that we had that is called Perspectives on Globalization. And so the teacher would assign different topics, and then you had to be like the specialist on the topic, do some research, get some articles, and then you had to present on a whole topic. And my topic was decolonization, and it was a very big topic, and when they gave it to me I was a little bit scared, but like we said, here it's like the structure is very open and it's very flexible, and the teachers are very approachable, so whenever you have questions you can always ask them, and you get a lot of support in that sense, so it was really good.
I do agree with that. Do you think that you get like enough support from your teachers, like she mentioned, because we're in different faculties here, so do you share the same thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I would think I think I take too much advantage of that even from me myself, because one of the reasons I came to Finland, apart from personal reasons, was like especially for the 6G that is currently ongoing, and with the Vision project, Machine Vision project, and everything, and I had a background in cost control, and I really wanted to get really into the IT industry in terms of programming and everything. And after taking a course in Java and software modeling and everything, even after the classes, I walk up to my teachers. Of course, they're busy. Of course, they have like a time schedule and everything. And they're really, really very approachable because okay, I have to get to a class now, but quite interesting question. Could you come by my office?
Yeah.
And their doors are always open. You can always send a question. Like the game that I did, I was like, that I did over the summer, I was talking to my software modeling teacher, Pavi, and I was like, okay, I feel like there's a way of making this game quite efficient. And she's like, okay, you can come so we can talk about it, or we can introduce it into the class for software modeling and we'll see how it went, how we'd go about it.
Yeah.
And they are really very approachable. I remember for my matrix exam, my matrix course, sometimes I had, that's in the first year, sometimes I had issues of understanding some of these things, and I go to Marcus, and I in his office, and he brings a paper. It's like a private tutorship. He brings a paper. He's like, okay, this is this, and this is this. Initially, because of the cultural shock from where I'm coming from, I'm like, okay. But now I take serious advantage of it because they actually like it. It's not like they are forced to do it. Like when they see you really interested in it, they want to get you more involved in it.
Yeah. And it's not only related to the course content. In my case, at least, we have, so Audrey is in charge of like most of the program. And we also have check-in sessions like once a semester with her for just 20 minutes. And she asked us, okay, how are you doing in class? How are you doing with the courses? But also, how's your personal life? Are you okay? Are you having any issues? Do you need some sort of support? Is there anything else you need that would make your experience better? So it's not only, okay, are you doing well enough? Are you passing your courses? No. Are you okay for real, like in general? And I think that is very different. We did not have that experience in the bachelor, at least.
True. And I think that like the fact that you mentioned that this is your tutor teacher, is it? So the fact that they have like somebody who is assigned to just like help us navigate through this, I think that's really good.
I just want to put in something because most of the teachers we have in within the IT faculty and the DICE, they are not just teachers. They are not just there to teach. Most of them are researchers. So just to give you an idea of the reasons why they are quite open to helping you, they are researchers that actually teach. So they are open to looking for what new ideas, because you are coming with a fresh mind. They're like, okay, what new ideas? So they're really quite open to hear you say something also.
Yeah,
definitely.
So now I want to move on to the fact that, of course, there's like an increase in use of technology in every aspect. Do you think that the university integrates it in a manner that makes it better, that improves the studying or the learning experience here?
Yeah. In terms of the technology, I think it's an ever-changing thing, but currently I would say the university is trying to use as much as it can. I forgot to mention the last time we have like the university has laptops, not really good laptops that you can loan within the day, and which have most of the softwares which are needed by students installed on it. And university uses like 3 major platforms. That's the Moodle webpage, and Peppy and Tudo. And most of like for Moodle, for the mathematics courses, for the stacks and the quizzes, they are all automatically graded also. So they have stuff running on the back end that helps. So it's not like the teachers have to manually grade anything. And then we have computer rooms in ITE. So in case you want to run, you don't want to get the laptops, you want to use the computer rooms for labs and exercises, that also is there. And in terms of technology also, what else? We also have the library. And one big advantage, we could use the online library. And currently now I have a data structure because I'm a text person, but I'm also a techie person. So when I'm back home, I have the data structure hardcover that I borrowed from the library. But when I'm in the university, I can access that same book on my phone or on my laptop, and it's free.
And I think the online library is such a good advantage that we don't have to like look for books or even go to the library to lend like a book. We can always access it online. And I feel like no matter how much I like having a hard copy, I have, especially in terms of learning and studying, I have moved to online text so easily because it's so much easier to like look up something. You just can search it on like a bar instead of going through the book. So I think that just increases, decreases the time that you would spend on, going through the book and doing that. So I do agree that that's a great portal that we have. Do you have anything to add here?
Yes, I was thinking about, because now I have to write my master's thesis. That is coming up, so that's a new challenge. And we have this master's thesis seminar in which we are going to learn next week how to use a platform called NVivo, which is for coding. So they also try to help us out with that. And I know I didn't have it last year. We have a course on research methodology, and it has a qualitative and a quantitative part. And I know that the teacher that is teaching the qualitative part of that course, she is now getting trained in artificial intelligence so that she can teach that in the course and how artificial intelligence can be an asset. We have to be aware of, some of the difficulties it can have, but also how can we use it for our advantage when writing a thesis, for example. So I think that's also very good, and it's being developed now at the university.
That's amazing. Like I didn't know about this. That's really good.
It's new.
And the good part is that like I'm from the technology, like the ITE faculty, and so is Stanley. But then you're from the education faculty, and you're still like you are also integrating technology and AI into your like learning standards, and helping you improve that. So that's amazing. And I would also like to mention that I think one of the things that I use like the most is the Tudo app, because it really helps me like keep track of when and where my classes are, or if it's online, so there will always be like the link present. I don't have to look through like 3 different Moodle pages to find it. And one thing I was discussing with like a friend who's studying in another European country is that they have like different email IDs for each platform. And for us, like from obviously accessing Moodle and Microsoft and everything, we have that email ID. But as you mentioned, the laptop that we can lend from the university or the systems that we use at the university, we still have like, we can still use the same user ID password, and that's like applicable everywhere. Like at this point, if I'm accessing something new and it asks me for user ID password, I just feed in the university one, and it always ends up working. So So we're coming to the end of the session. It was really nice speaking to both of you. But is there any specific learning method that's your favorite?
Well, I really enjoy the learning diaries. I know I've mentioned them again and again, but like it's really something new to me. I like that they're very challenging in the sense that you have to deep dive into the content, and it's not just repeating what you learned in the lecture. No, you have to connect it to your own experiences. You have to connect it to the discussions that you're having in class. And they're also free in the structure. So if you want to dive into a certain specific topic, you can also do that. And there's just not one simple, correct way of writing them. So you can make it very personal. And I think that's very valuable.
I think that increases like that takes a lot of creativity to write those learning diaries. Is there something you would like to add to it?
For me, I'm a visual person, so I really appreciate the recorded Zoom lectures because most times I like to go back and back again on the lectures. So apart from the recorded Zoom lectures, the oral assessment is really my new favorite, because they just give you a topic, let's say 2 weeks at a time, and you get to look at it, and you're supposed to come. You have like a 15-minute session, which is almost like a real-life interview and interviewee session with the teacher, and you get to talk about what you read about. And because of that, it makes you read wide, and it's not about like the pass or the fail, but you'll get quite interested, and she asks you questions which are on the spot to test your knowledge. Because of that, you're quite knowledgeable about that. And I think with that approach, especially with we're in the era of artificial intelligence, it would make students to be quite more responsive and more spontaneous and read wide about stuff, especially those that are into ICT.
Yeah, and I think that like at this point, like we all mentioned that we just don't have exams. There's so much more. And I think one of the main reasons is that in our generation, it is so easy to Google anything that you need to memorize, that you do not need to memorize it anymore.
Exactly.
It's not the 70s or the 80s where you need to write down everything. You can just always access it through like, it's just one Google search away. So I think these are the methods that will help us like develop the skills and develop the concepts that we need to work in an environment where we don't need to like have everything in our brains, but we need to know how to look for them correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I would like to see if we have any questions from the live chat.
So the first question is, how many hours should I allocate to study each week versus free time?
Yeah.
Interesting question. How many hours? I think that depends a lot. In my case, at least, the first year we had a lot of classes, for example, and I had to do a lot of readings too. So in that sense, I was spending a lot of time reading articles and answering questions. But like Stanley mentioned at the beginning, I think Finland in general, and especially our university, is focused on this work-life balance. So I've always had enough time to just go out for a walk or to have my hobbies or just do whatever is not academic related. And now, because I'm going to start writing my thesis, I'm finishing my last courses, so I have a lot of free time, which isn't really free time because I should be working on my thesis. But yeah, I think I wouldn't know a specific amount of hours during the week. I think it depends on your own abilities too, how to organize yourself. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And how to prioritize, I think. Stanley also mentioned like the deadlines. So you always know when you have to submit things. And for me, at least, just trying to work every day a little bit on each thing, then you're never too overwhelmed about not staying behind tasks.
Yeah, and I feel like on the Moodle page of each course we have like the timeline for the rest of the semester. So if you like schedule it properly, you will have a lot of free time for like whatever extracurricular activities that you want.
But just to come in here also, like one of the things I noticed in the DICE program also, it's when the new students come in, one of the first things that they have been introduced to, it's orientation. And it's not just a one-time thing. It's the orientation, it's actually a course in itself. And what it does is it doesn't just try to make the students settle into school. It also helps you to settle into life here in Oulu. And like you said, we have hours in terms of the courses. And those hours, to be more practical about the question that they asked, if you have like, let's say for your first period, they are doing 4 courses and they are like 150 hours. On the model page, they are like 150 hours. You see them split into face-to-face lectures is about 80 hours. Independent study is about 60 hours. So you can take those hours and actually in the orientation, they teach you on how to make Excel sheets and you can split them even to say, okay, by this time I'm going to do this, and Moodle would help you and Tudo would help you to keep a deadline on the lectures that you're going to do. So personally, you can develop your own schedule on, I will go to the shop today by this time. Actually, I do it myself.
I'm sure you do.
I do it myself. Like, if you ask me now, like, okay, Stanley, what are you doing by 5 o'clock today? I will tell you exactly what I can do. But that's a bit too detailed also. So answering the question on how many hours do you have to study, it actually depends on the number of courses that you're doing. But what I can assure you is that the overall structure of the program, it's not meant to kill your work-life balance. Just like you said, it's so that because if you're not kind of balanced mentally, then you would not be able to focus on your studies. That's why we have like the career center and everything for you to talk to, for you to talk to trained professionals in there in case of you having challenges in your studies.
No, I definitely agree with that. We have, I think, one more question. Is it?
Yes. So the second question is, what sets the Finnish education system apart from other global education systems and makes it unique?
What does it make it unique?
Okay.
I think one of the things that I would like, I'm not sure, I haven't studied globally, but like you can choose the number of courses that you want in each year, in each semester. You have like some control over it, at least in my degree program, where you can sort of like cater your degree in the way you want. So if I want to take like 25 credits of some other faculty or from some other degree program, I can actually do that.
Yeah.
And in a way like have a massive learning of another like topic if I want to. But if I want to like specialize in my own thing, I can even do that, like a deep dive into that as well. So I think catering the program according to what you want it to be, that is one of the things that I find are quite unique here.
Totally.
Yeah.
For me, I would list it like this. I haven't studied globally all over the world, but I can tell you about Nigeria, I can tell you about a bit of some countries and also Finland, but I will tell you about specifically University of Oulu. One is that the studies are structured in a way whereby it's not supposed to kill your work-life balance and you can be able to do other things also. Two, the studies are also structured in a way whereby even if you do not do well in one of the exam-oriented courses, which for me was majorly mathematics, you have an opportunity of taking the exams again and again.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity of taking it because the whole essence is for you to get the knowledge, and it's not about to categorize you into some certain grades or so. Then the third one about why I think I like it here, I really wouldn't say why University of Oulu is much more than the whole global because I've not been there, but why I also like it here also is that the resources, I tell people that you're only limited by your imagination here at University of Oulu because the resources are fantastic. We talked about the library system, we talked about the online library, and we have like companies that come down because there's a close interaction between the IT companies, and speaking specifically for my program, IT companies and the university, and they're always coming down to showcase current technologies and other things. And there's like next week, is it next week or 17th or so, we have hackathon, which is organized by a certain company or so. There are those that are directed towards females and towards everything. So you see, you have these several resources all open to you. And all I need is, for me, I want knowledge, I have the library, I have the companies always coming to showcase current technologies, and I have teachers who are researchers, meaning that the program is changing even in the midst of what is happening. What else? University of Oulu is this for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, the uniqueness of the Finnish system, one is related to the non-hierarchies between teachers and students.
Yes.
Yes,
We discussed it before, how they are so approachable and how there's still so much respect for the teacher, of course, but you can always have the access to the knowledge. You can always stop by their offices. You can always write them an email. They're very accessible and ready and eager to help you with everything. I think that is one thing. And the other thing I would say is like the change of paradigm of what is learning, what is knowledge, not having the pressure to study for an exam and not having to just learn everything by heart. That doesn't mean that you're not learning. Having to change that for me has been very important. And just knowing that discussing that, just trying to relate to your own experiences and not having that pressure and feeling that your opinion is valued is also a very important part of learning. I think those things are.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I'm so glad that I could have, like, both of you, you're from education and you're from ITE, so two different perspectives of the University of Oulu. I think two most famous programs here as well at the university. So thank you again for coming here and sharing your experience with the viewers and with me. And thank you so much for joining today. And I would like to thank all of the viewers for tuning into this session. A huge thanks to all of you. The next session is related to the career services at the university, which is at 2 p.m. Finnish time. So please make sure to tune in over there as well. And I hope to see you here in the August of 2024. Thank you. See you then.